What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about what's going on with the Wonder Woman game. Could we expect to see something next year? Kind of talk about where we're at with this game and where we're going over the next calendar year. And, well, the answer to where we've been is nowhere. There's been absolutely nothing for the entire year of 2022. And, in some ways, that is understandable, or that is something we could have predicted we would have seen based off of how these games go, right? You reveal yourself, and then you don't show much, and then the game comes out 3 to 4 years later, and then you have the question of why did you even reveal it as early as you did? Sometimes games reveal themselves that early simply to try to sell workers on them that, hey, we're working on a Wonder Woman game or a Star Wars game or whatever. Hey, come work for our studio. We don't have anything yet, but we're going to do it, and we need your help. Sometimes that's the reason. I don't think that's the reason for the Wonder Woman game, and this one is and I've always said this, it's a confusing game to me in the sense that, well, number one, I'm so excited for it. If you ask me what are some of my most anticipated games going forward, not just in 2023, Wonder Woman would easily be in the top 5. I am a big fan of Monolith, even though I'm not even a big Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth fan. They crushed those games. They did so good, and I have complete faith that they can do Wonder Woman. I really, really do, and I want to see Wonder Woman in the Nemesis system and all that kind of stuff. I am pumped. So I have nothing against them doing Wonder Woman. My thing is just, what have you been doing for all of these years? I would love nothing more than to talk to one of these people to simply just ask, what's been going on? My prevailing theory is that they were working on a third Middle-earth game. I don't really see any way that didn't happen, considering it had been years and years and years and years, maybe even that many times of years, between Shadow of War and then even when they announced Wonder Woman at the Game Awards. So I don't know what they were doing in that 3-4 years in between, but clearly they were doing something that got canceled, in my opinion. And so in 2022, we had nothing for Wonder Woman. And so where are we with it now? Well, I like to check their job postings every so often, right? That's something that I don't check too many companies' job postings, but I really have kind of zeroed in on theirs because I am just so confused as to, where they are in the process of making this game. There really hasn't been much talk of this is in full development, right? This isn't in a conceptual stage, right? Where you're just kind of planning the whole thing. You are making the game fully, aren't you? I do believe they are, but it's actually not a guarantee. So I remember, when we last checked, and I checked maybe every half year or so, when they announced Wonder Woman, they had a lot of jobs on their, job page for some high-level positions. Now, they still do, but they don't have as many. So a lot of them are for engineers or tool working, kind of behind the scenes stuff. In terms of people for legitimately the game, kind of more in your face job positions, lead designer or character artist, things like that, they only have I believe 2 kind of higher up roles available. Maybe you can stretch it to a few more if you're being generous or if you're being kind of anti-generous. So they have a lead artist, that's a big one, right? And they also have an advanced game writer. Now I don't know what the difference between an advanced game writer and I guess a senior game writer would be, somebody that kind of oversees it all. So you got those 2, and then I guess technically you also have a senior producer, and you also have an advanced artist. So if you include all of those, there's 4, okay? And again, a lot of software engineers. That is I think there's 14 jobs in all besides those 4. So there's 10 jobs just for software engineers. So if you're into that kind of stuff, Monolith is looking for remote work even as well. And so honestly, I feel better about it because I don't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure that they had a lot of leads that were that they needed people to fill that job, a year or so ago. So when we're looking at it now, can the game... Now, I still don't technically know how any of these games get created when you go on these job pages and they need, senior level designer, and nobody is, applying, nobody's being hired. They need one, and yet you're still shipping the game. So you don't have a senior level designer and you're going to ship. But I don't know how that works. But because I think there's a lack of people that are looking for game work, you do see that across the industry. I don't know how any of that stuff is actually playing out. Maybe it's why some games are coming out seemingly incomplete. I don't know. But it definitely is looking like it's in a better spot now than it was a year ago. So when we're talking about next year, I do believe next year should be the year that we see this game. And I'm not talking like a 50-second trailer. I'm talking we need to see the game. I really think it's important because, again, I made fun of it in the beginning, and I made fun of it because it's true and it's stupid when you have all these games that are announced 3, 4, 5 years before they're actually going to come out. It's ridiculous. And the only way you really make that right, in my opinion, is by coming back every so often and kind of updating us on it. And when you skip an entire year, I guess my logic goes, you can't skip 2, right? So even if Wonder Woman is 4 years out from when they showed it, right? So it's 3 years out now, even. And I pray that's not true. I hope this is a 2024 game. It may be, it may not be. But even if it's further than 2024, you can't let 2 full years go by. I guess you can. It just makes you look bad, and some people care, some people don't care. Again, it's just kind of like how my brain functions, where if you miss a year, I'd hope the next year you come back. And that really applies to kind of anything. I guess in that way, like Star Wars Eclipse would even be on the clock, where it's like, hey, you'd like to see something. But I do just think it makes sense. You show a game to take 2 full years off where you don't show anything. 1 year, fine. That happens plenty. It's happened to plenty of games even in 2022. So that, I'll give you the free pass. But if all of next year were to go away and you don't show Wonder Woman, well, again, the thing that rises up in my head is, why in God's name did you reveal it? If you're not going to show it for 2 years, why'd you reveal it when you did? And again, the answer could be they were looking for some jobs to fill, and they actually probably did work, because there's not as many, I believe, as there were in the past. And I imagine you can probably link these things pretty easily together. We've talked about Warner Bros. A bunch. We've talked about, in my opinion, kind of a strategy of one goes at a time. So you have like Hogwarts Legacy, you go, and you succeed. Then Suicide Squad, you go, then you succeed. So I don't envision Wonder Woman being talked about the first half of the year. Let's say that, right? Because Suicide Squad, end of May 26th, I believe, and then Hogwarts, obviously, February 10th. So you have them spaced out already, those two. And even though, Hogwarts is not DC and Suicide Squad is, you have them spaced out. Suicide Squad comes out. We'll see if that game is supposed to be a game that lasts like a long time, like multiple months or even multiple years. But I do think the second half of the year, you're now free to kind of push. Even if even if it doesn't come out in 2024 or whatever, I still think you get out there. And what's a 2-minute trailer? Now, what's a 2-minute trailer? It does take time away from the development team. That's something that many people oftentimes just kind of gloss over. It is true. Making like an E3 2-minute trailer back in the day, or even now, takes like weeks, if not months, of multiple people's jobs that you could have them be doing the game, but you're having them now work on a trailer. That's legitimately how it works. So, I'm not demanding like 15 trailers, but one every 2 years, I think, is reasonable to ask for. And especially if the game is 1 or 2 years out, I think it makes a lot of sense to just keep it in the minds of, I think a lot of people remember it, but you don't know. I mean, not everybody. And once Suicide Squad is over, they really don't have anything, right? Warner or DC, let's say. Multiverses, I guess, continuing. But besides that, you got WB Montreal's next games, but you already have Wonder Woman that's announced. So I say go for it, and we'll see. But I would hope really, really hard that we get a trailer next year for Wonder Woman, second half of the year, maybe Game Awards, 2 years later, and then we can start talking about the release and all that stuff. So let me know what you guys think, when we would see it, what we would see in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.